Hello, friends. Chris Corsi here, president of Thrive Today, and I want to welcome you to the Relational Skills in Real Life podcast. Today, we're going to hear from a pastor and a new father, someone who's been working hard to grow relational skills in his family and his community. My friend, Brett Bush. And you know what? I've had the pleasure of knowing Brett for a number of years now and watching God work in his life, through his life. As Brett's going to share in his video, you know what? He's in a season of new things. New baby, a new congregation, a new church, a new home. Like this is a new season for Brett. And you know what? Here's someone who's such a beautiful example of a safe leader. He wants to be the best version that he can be, relationally present, loving people well like Jesus. And you know what? This is really such a great example of how learning relational skills can really make a difference here. Now, here we have a shepherd who cares about being glad to be with people. He wants to create an environment where people can feel safe, be vulnerable, grow some joy, and be the best versions of themselves. So Brett's been working hard to grow these relational skills in his own life. I've had the pleasure of watching him work his way through the Thrive training. He's a Thrive graduate. This is an exciting time in his life. Let's hear from Brett and let's see what he has to say.
Hi, my name is Brett, and it's my joy and pleasure to be able to share with you how relational skills have influenced my life and now how they're influencing me as I've started as a pastor and as a parent. Started as a pastor 6 months ago and as a parent 6 weeks ago. I had the pleasure and joy of being able to dive into learning about relational skills when I started at seminary. And I was fortunate enough to be able to attend Thrive Today in Holland, Michigan in the summer of 2019. And I was able to be immersed in the content about relational skills while I was doing my seminary training and had the blessing of being able to weave and relate and interact with the training about relational skills and the brain and how God made the brain and wired us for relationship while I was studying how God has created the church and the place that the church has in the world and the church has in God's heart and God's purpose for the church. So I had a sincere blessing and a double blessing in receiving both of those at the same time. And now, as I have begun as a pastor and as a parent in the last 6 weeks, it can be overwhelming with all of these significant changes taking place at once. And the relational skills that my wife and I were able to invest in um, while we were in seminary has provided a real foundation for us as we are starting a new life and learning how to care for a congregation, learning how to mature as parents, learning how to mature as a pastor, and with my wife also shepherding people as well, and learning how to mature as parents and develop maturity that way. One of the primary relational skills that I use on a day to day basis is the relational circuit. The relational circuit, what it does is when I pay attention, it helps me to know if I am genuinely desiring to be connected with people, if I'm genuinely um, glad to be with them, if I care about what they have to say and about being in their presence. And when I genuinely desire these things and am in that place or that in that state in my brain, then there's a sense of mutuality in in my relationships and in what I do. And when I am in the place where I'm genuinely glad to be with them, genuinely curious, there's a sense where they also feel that they feel that from me, and they have a sense that their desires and who they are matters to me, and in that way, we can have a genuine relationship, and we can feel if we're going in a genuinely positive direction. And I need to check my relational circuit pretty well across the board. If it is in a conversation in the narthex, before the service, during the service, in leading worship, am I glad to be with the folks that I'm with and proclaim out of the joy and being glad to be with people, to a pastoral care conversation when when I'm listening to someone and um, being genuinely curious about their story or what they're sharing with me. Also, in a board meeting, if am I genuinely glad to be with the people that I'm sitting around the table with, as we work on making decisions that are best for the church. And as I do these things, I can be more present to the conversations and what's taking place because I have a, a genuineness about myself and a curiosity about what's going on compared to having a particular end that I'm trying to meet. And so, relational skills right now, as my wife and I are making a transition from being in seminary and to starting in pastoring, and as parents, have been a real lifesaver for us.
All right, friends, wasn't that something? I knew you would enjoy hearing from Brett. This is such an encouraging example. Like, here's someone that's worked hard, right? Like, Thrive trainings are 5 days, each track's 5 days. And there's exercises and practices you do between trainings to keep growing relational skills. So Brett is somebody that committed a number of years, countless hours to growing relational skills, training his brain, updating his character, changing his marriage, preparing his family, and serving a community, all to grow joy. And so this is such an encouraging example for me, just to see someone that really has such a heart for God and to reflect God's character and God's love in the church, in a community with his family. So this was really impeccable timing for Brett to learn all these relational skills right before he became a new pastor and right before he became a father. You know what? For a lot of us, we're already in the positions of leadership. We already have families, but it's never too late. And I hope that this encourages you that no matter where you are right now, your life can be touched and transformed by learning relational skills. And I really liked how Brett, wants to review and reflect on whether he's his best self and he's relational right now. He's using what we call skill zero, activating the brain's master switch, the relational circuit. And he would notice, do I want to connect right now? Am I glad to be with this person? Do I care about what's happening in their lives? So there's a sense of mutuality that Brett wanted. He wanted to be in his relational sweet spot, because when we're not in our relational sweet spot, we're in enemy mode. And in enemy mode, your brain wants to focus on results and outcomes. People feel like roadkill. They don't feel important to us because, frankly, we're just not in a good trainable brain state where joy is going to grow. And so I love that Brett was paying attention to these things, and he loves people and he loves Jesus, and he wants to really create that safety and transparency in his community and in his family, that people aren't problems to solve. They're God's children. And Brett wanted to treat them that way, that we can love and care about people genuinely. And so what a beautiful example here by my friend Brett. Very proud of him and Brittany and all the great things that they're doing. And I hope that this inspires you to keep growing and practicing relational skills in your life so that these skills become part of your character. They become part of the fabric of who you are. You're someone that loves well. You're someone who lives relationally, who lives with peace and joy, someone who knows how to bounce back from problems and repair ruptures. Friends, this is why we created the habit builder courses, so that you can actually start growing emotional capacity to stay relational and to be the best version of yourself. So all of the foundational 5 habit builder courses that are in the show notes here are going to be very helpful. This is also why I wrote the Joy Switch book, so that you can continue to find practical ways to learn how to stay relational and grow some joy. Friends, a little bit of joy goes a long way. And so I hope that you'll follow Brett's example, Work on becoming the best version of yourself so that you can love well and reflect the living God. May God bless your journey today.